Today, I'm hoping to spend the next 20 minutes talking to you and hearing from you as well about getting future ready and Power Platform in that scenario. So to get into it, we're seeing this in three phases, if you will, knowing that the situation where we are today, I would look at it in three parts. Dream and think about what are the opportunities and what are the opportunities and how do you want to get there, and then design your professional success, which is about skilling, reskilling, upskilling. It's a lifelong journey of learning. So as opportunities change, you need to be changing your skills, adding to your skills as required. So that's another piece that you would look at. And then, of course, find opportunities, create opportunities. And especially today with Power Platform, the create opportunities part is super relevant. And you've heard a part of it in the morning, and you are going to hear a lot more from speakers coming after me about what are the opportunities you can create for yourself inside your organization and even externally using Power Platform and more. To give you a context of what I would speak would come from this, so a quick 4-5 points about myself is that I care about women, as Geeta said. I care about women empowerment a lot, especially using technology not just for women but for everybody out there to be able to find what technology they could leverage and then use it well and get better. I'm passionate about healthcare, so I work with HIMSS India on the board of HIMSS in India, and I lead the Women in Health IT committee. It brings two very passionate areas together for me, IT and healthcare. Then, of course, the daily life is about nurturing developer communities like this community, as well as a lot of the other ones. So a lot of action happened across communities during COVID time where teams came together, like in Philippines. The DevCon Philippines got about 500 odd developers together and created 4 apps which are live with Philippines. Stuff like that is so inspiring. So I gain a lot of inspiration from you, from the developers out there, and I try to see what I can do to help you leverage our technology better. So I'm going to take you back before I take you forward into Power Platform and the rest. This is 1905, and this is the Flatiron Building on Broadway in New York. 1905, that decade saw phenomenal changes. So this picture was taken at a time when all you see on the streets are horses, horse-driven carriages. The whole economy, I think there were about 100,000 horses that were driving the economy or powering the economy there at that point of time. And imagine the number of families and people who built their profession and careers around the carriages, the horses, the cleaning up afterwards, and all of that. Cut to 1925. In just 20 years, 2 decades, the whole scene had changed. Where have the horses gone? It's all automobiles. On the curbs, on the drive, you see a bunch of automobiles being carted. So the whole thing had changed during this period. The factory model for automobiles came in with Henry Ford kicking it off, and a lot of changes like this. So this was a period of lot of turbulence, if you will, because people were like, okay, these jobs had gone, now what else? But what ensued was a flourishing economy. A flourishing economy with new technology. People just had to reskill, learn new stuff. But there were so many opportunities that were coming from this new technologies that were out there. So what seemed to be a nervous situation turned out to be something very good, more productive, more opportunities, people were thriving. And then you know the history that it just thrived from there. We are in a situation like that currently, where there's a lot of change happening. And Satya says it so well that 2 years worth of digital transformation just happened in 2 months. Because literally the retail outlet, which was probably selling groceries, which was used to having an app which had probably could handle about 200 or 300 concurrent users, suddenly had a hit of 1,000, 2,000 and more concurrent users. And they had to quickly either re-architect their application, or many of them quickly went about creating mobile applications which could actually take that load. So a lot changes during this period, and we are in the midst of that, which creates a lot of opportunities as well. So citizens, economic urgency, the whole need for digital first is among everyone, not just organizations, even people. My 80-year-old mother is quite familiar with using Zoom and WhatsApp and calling and all of the others, which she refused to do a couple of months back. So regardless of age, race, wherever we are all in the same situation, and there is an urgency out there and probably an inclination to go digital. And that is what is going to actually rapidly transform our lives. The world really needs great solutions, creative, because the old fundas don't work. Um, the way we approached stuff didn't work this couple of months. We quickly had to get creative, and then we quickly, very fast and better solutions. One second. I see a power problem. Just make sure I'm good. Just hold on for a minute. Well, talking about fast, creative solutions, I just had to change my power plug. So that's good. Let me make sure we're good. All right. So this is what it is, where we are. The world really needs something faster, better, creative. Now, what's the opportunity there? The opportunity is that 500 million new apps will be built in the next 5 years. And this comes from Forrester, having done a survey. And I probably think, and I do think that this number will just go up, considering the current accelerated digital transformation that is happening. So this is more than all the apps that were built in the last 40 years. And 5x faster demand for mobile apps than IT can deliver. So and this is a clear thing, that 65% of organizations report an app development backlog. 37% still use paper. Especially, I mean, you would think that government organizations would, but it's interesting that even private organizations, which should have gone digital earlier, still use a lot of paper to manage critical business processes. 20% annual growth is projected from application modernization. So there's money to be made in the business of app development as well. Opportunity, right? Well, the challenge is here. There's a huge developer shortage, and this creates a challenge for app development. Low-code app development is the way to close the gap. It's just simple math, that if you have if 86% of the organizations are struggling to find technical talent, and say only 8% of the technical requirement is actually being addressed by students in STEM, then clearly there is a need for more people to become app developers. And that is what we kind of call the citizen developers. Citizen developer is not about citizens being developers. It is about people who are not into coding still being able to make apps, build apps, and make it fast. So at Microsoft, we focus on developer velocity. This is kind of what we are trying to achieve this year and the next. This is about, and velocity is not just about speed, it's about direction as well, right? So, and what is direction here? It's about ingenuity of developers. the thing that we started off with, that the world needs a lot of faster, better, but creative solutions. And if you look at organizations, there's a IT department which is very clear about the technical side of things, but the knowledge of business processes and what the business needs and what is critical today lies on the business side of things. And they are the people with the ideas, and they pass it on to IT department, and the IT department can only do so much. So there's a ton of backlog that's always there. So the idea is to help developers actually build productively, collaborate, and then scale this innovation. How do we scale about it? If we go back and look at the evolution of software development across this building productively, securely, and innovation, initially it was developers doing a lot of coding by themselves, and then came teams, and then the need to manage teams and allow them to collaborate, all of that, which brought all the DevOps, open source development, how do you use open source inside an organization, etc., etc. And then came cloud computing, where you had this immense compute power at your hands, and now things could just accelerate superiorly. And then probably we now think about quantum computing and say that, hey, what would take you a lifetime to build could probably done in a week if you use quantum computing. So that's where that technology is going. But also the whole point in innovation and scaling innovation was about the shortage of skills and the fact that we had to bring along everyone in this journey of digital transformation. It's not about a bunch of developers creating apps or solutions, but it's about everybody being digitally savvy at some level. Almost like saying that typewriting at one point was something that everybody learned a little bit of. Excel sheet is now something that everybody knows and uses. PowerPoint is something that everyone uses, and similarly, apps can also be at that level. That brings around the rise of citizen developers. This is about unlocking additional business value. So how do we leverage existing talent? How do we give intuitive, easy to learn low-code tools? Can it be a visual drag and drop? Even professional developers today prefer drag and drop UIs, right? Let alone citizen developers. And how do you save cost? By multiplying the development team. So these are all the drivers for the birth of Power Platform, if you will. Now, we do not need shadow IT within organizations. And shadow IT, some of you will know, is people who go along like a maverick and create something, and then there is no governance or security or control over that. Power Platform actually brings with it the whole security and governance layer. And I think that's super useful in making sure that your organizations at large are able to scale with it. Now, the mission we live and breathe every day is about empowering every person to achieve more. And from the developer relations team, and this is it. This is our job. But it's more than a job. This is our passion. And only people who are passionate about this can actually survive in the developer relations area of work, where we work very closely with communities. So if you look at this, Microsoft Azure is a cloud that is giving you all that compute power, intelligence, and all of that. On the left, you see tools that professional developers must use, which is GitHub, Visual Studio Code. And on the right side, you see what citizen developers can use. So when Microsoft looks at the whole platform, we are looking at how do we bring along everyone in the digital journey, and hence creating platforms and services that not only professional developers, but also not a code savvy person could actually build, which is Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power Virtual Agents. And I know that there are more sessions coming later, so I'm not going to deal too much into that. Just to let you know that this is Power Platform is not only for citizen developers, it's for IT professionals and for pro developers. So the simple things can be done by citizen developers, which is a self-service capabilities, unlocking the app development backlog, and in some cases, innovative stuff coming out of people who want to do it and then do it. They have a platform to do that themselves. IT professionals, so a lot of the program managers and business analysts who do have some technical background, but our current role is not to really work on that coding side of things, or IT professionals who are admins. They know all the nuts and bolts, but they do not code. So they have a good overview. So they are great people who can also leverage Power Platform. Now, the advanced capabilities for pro developers would lie around the higher productivity app development. So very short time to develop and deploy. Powerful tools for existing app customization and legacy app modernization. This is super, super useful, especially in the current times when you see that your existing app, legacy app is not good enough, and you have to quickly bring around some applications. It's also great for product vendors when they want to show a new use case to customers and they don't want to create a whole application around it. Power Apps are a great way of showing the use case. The no limits extensibility, the AI and chatbot functionality, you are going to hear a little bit more from the following speakers on that. Extensibility, and of course, ability to use standard dev tools are all great for pro developers. It's actually gathering a lot of momentum. So who's using it? About 86% of the Fortune 500 companies are using it. And what they're doing is they are setting up the center of excellence within their organization, which kind of govern this, skilling up more people on the side, and then actually getting it going. So there are a lot of companies, say like the Virgin Atlantic is one, the Red Cross is another one, Heathrow Airport is another one, and there are so many more like Shell and the others. So lots of them are actually using this. There are 700% Power Apps growth in production apps. Now, that is significant, right? It is not a hobby project. These are apps which are going into production. Today, there are over 3 million active developers on the Power Platform. 25 billion Power Automate steps run each day. More than 25 million data models are hosted in the Power BI service. And of course, more than 300% Power Apps growth in monthly active users just in the last year. So tremendous momentum. And it's important, as I started off with, to know the trend that is happening in this, and not to feel that, so professional developers looking at this do not need to feel that their jobs will go away. No, you are only doing 8% of the jobs that is out there. So this is 92% of low code additional support that you could get. And of course, you are at the center of it because security and governance is very key to this. You cannot let this run free as anyone can do anything on any data. It needs very good structure, automation in some parts, right testing in place, and of course, security and governance. This is, I will leave this with you. This is actually how you go about getting it. If you are from an organization, so the first step in your journey could be just creating one small Power App, if you will. Take a pain area, build a Power App, and see whether you're actually able to use it. And if you are, then help a few people around you to bring you their problem statements and try solving that. Just look at the number of paper processes that you have. Automating that is a quick win. Maybe there is an external partner that needs some information on a regular basis, and probably a chat bot on top of your Power App is going to be useful for a Q&A bot. So try doing those simple things first, and then this actually then becomes something that the organization itself wants to take it more at a scale. And that's when you set up a COE or a center of excellence, from where you will have the security and governance from the IT organization to actually scale this. So there's a lot of white paper and learning resources out here. I shall leave that with you. Community forums. I mean, this is an awesome community that is there very regularly, and you can come to these communities, ask the questions you need, and that is where you actually get a lot of the learning, the sharing, and then growing with it. So I'll leave with this. essentially today, there are no 4-year degrees that are relevant anymore. And I'm sure you are living that too, right? So we talk about a 50-year degree. So if you finished your education at 22, imagine you could be learning till you're 72, which is a great feeling, right? That you're never going to become irrelevant. You have all this capability to learn and be relevant in whichever economy it is. So we see that by 2030, studies saying this, that there'll be an estimated increase of 120 million students. And they are not the young, just out of college guys. I mean, these are above age 25 and financially independent. And there's this need. And obviously, every few decades, when technology becomes accessible to a lot more people, because it gets more human parity or it is lower cost and more accessible, then technologies just burgeon and grow. And then you need to be aware of those trends, go skill up on those, and then just grab the opportunities or create the opportunities that come. This is, you can scan this QR code, join us, and you will get a monthly newsletter in which we kind of keep giving you on certain topics, some of our cloud advocates who write a lot about the nitty-gritties of development, as well as events where you could come join us, hackathons you can join, win some cool prizes, etc. So I think I will pause now, and if there are any questions, happy to take.